Welcome to Adventure Freaks, a podcast on living abroad on a budget.
All right. Well, today we are heading to the beautiful country of Belize. And my special guest is Megan Rodden. And she is really an awesome lady. She's from New Jersey, and she moved down to Belize 5 years ago. Is that right, Megan?
Yeah, just about 5 years.
5 years ago. Okay. And she is the owner of Driftwood Gardens Guesthouse. And she has a blog that you need to check out, and it's called Real Life Recess. And we're going to post all that information on this interview so that people can view it and see it and find you. So let's pull up a quick map here just to show everybody where Belize is. Okay, so we're let me see here. So here is Belize, and it is just right below Mexico and the US. Makes it very accessible to the US if you decide to move down there. And Belize is really known for the dive culture. It has incredible scuba diving. The water is beautiful, and they got this big giant blue hole down there that's super popular too, that I know that scuba divers have gone to. And so it's this really extraordinary place in Central America. And Megan, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm really passionate about Belize, my adopted country. It's just such a cool little place. And I do mean little. The whole country, you can see on the map that the whole country is really very small geographically, but it's so biodiverse. Like you said, the blue hole, we have the second largest barrier reef in the world right off our coast. And the whole country is, I moved here from New Jersey. It's almost the exact same size, square mile wise, as the whole state of New Jersey is the whole country of Belize. But we have the reef, and then jungle and savannas, mountains, pine scrub, like beautiful farms, broadleaf tropical forest. It's such a fun little place with so much natural wonder. I really love it here.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. It's funny. I've been all over Central America, and I've never been to Belize. So I've been through the jungle, and I've been on the coast of a lot of those countries. I've never been to Belize, and I've done my scuba diving in Honduras. So I head out to Utila and Roatan.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you have all of the same amazing stuff, right? And you got the now, are there like sloth and monkeys and all over Belize too, or do you see them?
Yeah.
You do?
Yes, there are. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So tell us a little bit about your journey and how, of all of the places in the world, you decided on Belize. What makes Belize special, and what caught your attention about this country?
We always wanted to move abroad, and we would travel, and do these recon trips. Like, oh, could we live here? Could we live there? So we kind of narrowed our focus to the Caribbean, just for proximity to the U.S., right? Like you miss your family, whatever. So if you think of Belize in Caribbean terms, then it's the least expensive place to live. If you think of it in Central American terms, then it's the most expensive. But we thought that was a good trade-off. And when we visited, we just really, we liked what we saw, right? Obviously it's English speaking, official national language is English. So all the signage, everything is in English, and it's really easy to read and get by. Like we just kept coming back for a number of reasons, the same reasons everybody ends up here, right? Like ease of immigration, and the what I like is that it's small, and it's also like the least populated country in Central America. So kind of the whole country sort of feels like very safe, like a small town. Everyone knows one another. for good or bad. You know, like, and it just felt safe to me.
Yeah, yeah.
So we,
And when you talk about the size, I mean, in proximity, like if you go from the south to the north of Belize, can you do that in a day? Can you drive that in a day?
you can fly that in a day.
Okay.
The infrastructure and roads are still, you know, lagging
A little
behind here,
shaky.
but
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
you could fly easy.
And what is the city that you live in, the town you live in?
So we decided on Placencia, which is, everyone calls it the key that you can drive to. It's a little village at the end of a really long, like 16-mile long, skinny peninsula. So it feels you're surrounded by water, so it feels like an island, but you can drive up the peninsula and get onto the mainland, 16 miles up. And so that's what we decided on. But we looked around a lot of other places in Belize, San Pedro on Ambergris Key, Key Calker, San Ignacio out in the mountains, Hopkins on the coast. There's just so many lovely places here, and I could have lived in any of them, really. You know, once you get into a routine and you find your vegetable stand and all that sort of thing, you know,
Yeah.
like any of these villages are really great communities.
Yeah. So that's like an island that goes out there.
Yeah.
Okay. Really? So you are so do you ever worry about like hurricanes or anything in that
You
particular?
know what? Belize is so fortunate. We rarely get hit by storms. I guess because of the reef and just the orientation. They usually just, if they form, they're going north of us, or we rarely get hit with major storms. But if we did, we would just evacuate to the mainland. You know, drive up the peninsula.
Okay. All right, great. Well, you said you talked about you liked Belize because of the ease of immigration. Let's talk
Mm.
about, the cost of a visa and how is it challenging for people that are interested in living there or traveling there and staying for 3 months, 6 months. How
Sure.
challenging? Yeah.
So it's not hard to get here. Everyone comes in on a tourist visa, and typically, you know, that's based on either your length of stay, or if you intend to stay longer, they'll give you 30 days at a time, and every 30 days you would renew that tourist visa, and it's 100 US per person every 30 days.
Okay.
They do have now, you know, they would ask for maybe some bank statements, or something just to prove that you can financially support yourself while you're here in
Yeah.
Belize.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's no major hoops to jump through.
Yeah. Megan, you said so it's going to be like $100 per month
Yes, per person.
per person. So you got it. Wow. So that's expensive every
It,
month.
it is.
So it's
Yeah.
like that's if you stay there a year, that's 1,200 a year that you got to pay just to obtain and sustain the visa.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so typically, you know, one member of a household, they might go for a work permit, which is also kind of pricey. It's 1,500 US a year, and you have to renew it annually. But then
Okay.
your dependents are just $100 for the whole year. Also,
Okay.
students. So if you have a child here and they're attending school, they can get a student permit, a student visa, and that is $100 for the school year. So it's good for the 9 months that they're in
Mhm.
school, and then they could just, you know, pay to stamp the 3 months that they're on school holiday. But that's what we did when we first moved here. And I mean, my son he was like you know, like a 3-year-old. And on a student visa, like my little scholar, 3-year-old scholar. But that's what we did
Yeah.
then.
Yeah. That's great. Do they do anything? I know some of the countries now are doing things because there's such a digital nomad movement. Do
Yeah,
they have a visa for those yet or?
we do have one. But it's, again, we're behind the times on it,
Yeah.
and I've not seen it really work.
Okay.
So I'm not sure how it's going to end up, but it's supposed to be you can come and stay for up to 6 months, and it would be 500 Belize, so 250 US. And then if you had a dependent or a child, the child would just be $100 under that, and it would be good for up to 6 months. And there's different things you have to do to apply for that. But I've not known anyone who's been granted that
Mm,
successfully, but
hmm.
I'm
Sure,
sure it's
sure.
coming.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, great. Well, thank you. So let's dive into the cost now. The flats, everybody's always looking for that affordability, and they're on a budget. So they're looking for, and typically people that would go to Belize, I'm sure they're looking for something where they can walk. I mean, I would.
Mhm.
I'd be looking for a flat where I can walk to the beach or walk, walk to the coffee shop and the little reggae pub at night and listen to some
Yeah.
Bob Marley and so what are the prices there in Belize right now?
Yeah. Okay. So if you ask 100 people, cost of living, you'll get 100 different answers, right? Because it's how
Sure.
you live.
Well, but that's why
Um,
you're on this podcast, because you're the expert and we're going to
yeah.
listen to you.
Uh, I will say, Belize is not as cheap as some people think, right? But
Yeah.
it's how you live. So if you live by North American standards, you're probably going to pay North American prices, maybe even more than you're used to paying back home. But if
Okay.
you adjust your way of life, which why wouldn't you? You're moving here, not to make it a little America or live your, the life that you left.
Yes.
So if you adjust your lifestyle, you can live a lot more cheaply here. And but the cost of housing, that it varies, and it frustrates people because they will see a place and it'll be 300 US a month, but and then they'll see another place and it's 1,000 US a month, and they're saying,
Yeah.
it's still a one bedroom, one bath, what's the, and it's all about amenities, and the type of construction, and like you could get a really cheap little cabana, wooden cabana, like wooden louvers on your windows, not glass. You might have hot water, like a instant hot, we call them suicide showers. You might have hot water in your bathroom, but you wouldn't have it like in your kitchen sink. So if you cook something greasy, you got to boil water, and that's how you have to wash your dishes. And just certain times, like people, they can't live like that, or
Yeah.
like it's not their comfort level, so you have to pay more for like a different
Hmm.
type of lifestyle. But I would say typically a a comfortable accommodation would be around 700 US to 1,000 US, and usually that's furnished, and all the utilities are included. So Wi-Fi, water, garbage, everything like that would be included. The only thing you would probably have to pay if it had air conditioning, I'm sure the landlord would make you pay your electric separate, because that could get really expensive if you're running AC.
Okay. All right. So about 7 to 100. Now, you might want to, Megan, if you can adjust it, because you're cutting off. I can only see like, yeah, there you go. Oh, yes. And we have some beautiful artwork behind us. Who did the palm trees? Did you paint the palm trees?
No, I'm in my friend's office, so it could be quiet because my son was just getting home from school when we were dialing in.
Oh, cool. Cool. Okay. All right. So you're, with all the amenities plus furniture, you're going to pay 700. If you move there and you want to find something for 300, like somebody said there was one for 300,
Yeah,
what do you get for 300?
you would get a semi-furnished. So it would be a bare bones apartment, but it might have a stove and a fridge already. And then it would probably be concrete construction, or at least a solid wood construction, and it might have hot water and things like that.
Yeah.
But it probably wouldn't be in a touristy area. You're looking to live more outside the big tourist hotspots.
Hmm. So there's no way, if you're going to pay that little, that you're going to be in town to be able to walk to a lot of these nice pubs, restaurants, or coffee shop places.
Yeah. You could be in a town, but it wouldn't be like the town that, all the other expats are, or that the vacationers go to and things.
Gotcha. Okay. Are there any places in Belize that, are endearing little towns that aren't oversaturated by tourism and expats that still have that Belizean feel and quality to them that you like when you go there, but yet are there any towns like that are really kind of interesting?
I, I really like, so obviously I love Placencia, and the whole peninsula really, like it reminds me, the peninsula reminds me of the Florida Keys when you're
Mhm.
driving down those bridges, and each little, there's Key Largo, and that has a different vibe than Isla Morada. And, like that's how I feel along the peninsula. And then Placencia at the tip is kind of like our poor man's Key West, right?
Mhm.
And then I also really love Key Caulker, which so about like 80% of our tourists, they go to San Pedro on Ambergris Key, and that's like
Mhm.
the big destination where all the restaurants and big resorts and stuff are. And then its little sister next door is Key Caulker, and it's very cute. The sand streets and the colorful houses, and real tiny, like laid back vibe. I really like it in Key Caulker. Hopkins is another place that was, typically just a Garifuna, which is a local people, a Garifuna village on the coast, fishing village, and now, it's becoming a hot spot for expats to settle. I also really like San Ignacio inland, and that feels more Spanish influenced as far as the food and culture goes. And I always thought I was a beach person, and then you go out to San Ignacio, and it's so beautiful, and the hills, and
Mm.
the fresh air, and you're like, oh, I could live here too.
Yeah, that's what is it called? San Ignacio?
San Ignacio.
So that's kind of like the Tuscany of Belize. That sounds great. All
Yeah.
right. So, okay. So now, how about houses? Do you know what homes, or do they sell condos or flats? I mean, what do they go for um, in Belize?
Yeah, so our real estate has boomed
Yeah.
through the pandemic. You would think, like, just in North America, we have, and everything sold, and the prices are high,
Mm.
especially in these desirable areas. Of course, you can still get tracts of empty, land, farmland or jungle or whatever, for pennies on the dollar. Like you might get a really decent size, probably like an acre for 40,000 US. And
Oh, wow.
it would be nice, nice land near, near a town or settlement where you could, get groceries and things like that. And a lot of people are choosing to have these prefab homes made by the Mennonite community, which is like our Amish.
Yeah.
The Mennonites, they make beautiful hardwood homes, and they deliver them pre-made, and then you outfit them however you like. And that's a really affordable option for a lot of people.
Wow. How much are the prefabs? Do you have any idea?
Oh gosh, I mean they vary, but I think around 20,000 is like the
Hmm.
standard for like a 2 bedroom, 1 bath.
Okay. And have you been in any of them? Are they nice or?
Yeah, they're simple wooden cabanas. Nothing luxurious, but totally, serviceable.
Yeah.
And you make them your own on the inside with the bathroom and kitchen and things.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And if you're gonna look, do they sell like condos or anything near the beach that are somewhat affordable or?
You can get a condo in San Pedro, like an older build condo for anywhere from 2 to 300,000.
Okay. Okay. So that the prices are up.
The prices are up,
Because
yeah.
even in Florida, you can get better prices than that all
Mhm.
over Florida, unless you go down to Miami and certain areas, but
Yeah.
are much more expensive. So wow, so people just said, forget about this. We're leaving the US and heading to Belize.
Yeah.
We're skipping Mexico. We're going straight down to Belize.
I will tell you, everything has sold on this peninsula in the past year. It's wild.
Are they mostly US people?
US Canadians, but really we're getting tons of South Africans. It's really a good mix of people.
Yeah. So it's got a nice international feel.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's talk about healthcare. People that want to live there, they want to know about, is the healthcare okay? And are we going to be saved if we have some kind of catastrophic kind of situation going on?
The healthcare is okay. It's a total crapshoot. It is rolling the dice every time you need help. Some people have great experiences, and other people have terrible experiences.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Okay.
I will say it's affordable. We personally, we don't carry any health insurance. We kind of just self-insure, put that money, save it away, in case we need it. And general doctor's visits are, maybe 30 US for the visit, the consultation, whatever little medication you need, $30 total, and
Mhm.
for a private doctor. A dentist also, cheap compared, for under 100 US, I can get a cleaning and a filling if I need, local Novocaine. So I will say those sorts of things, the general sort of things are fine, and they're affordable. But if I had an emergency, or I needed a surgery or something, I wouldn't deal with it here in Belize. I might go back to the US or even
Yeah.
Mexico. Lots of people just go over the border to Mexico to get their health
Oh,
care.
really? So people in Belize look at Mexico as a better
Yeah,
healthcare system than Belize.
for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
Actually, another place that a lot of expats are settling is the northern district of Corozal, just because it's so close to the Mexican border. You can go right over and, have your Burger King fix and hit Walmart, and then get your medical stuff taken care of
Yeah.
on the Mexican side.
Okay. All right. So is it cheap down there? I mean, based on what you shared, I probably wouldn't want to, you know, do anything with any hospital down there. But is it affordable as far as like, is there like a healthcare system that people pay into, or is it just pay as you go?
So it is, so public health care is free of cost, or sometimes, and I don't even understand why, I've been charged two Belize dollars, one US dollar to go into the public clinic. I mean, for what? What can that pay for?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
um, yeah, so
Hmm.
the public clinics are free, and we'll use them if we need. And I've had good experiences. My son, he picked up a little parasite by drinking dirty river water, and he had to go over and get an IV and get some medicine and things like that. And it cost us nothing, but the water taxi ride over to the clinic.
Hmm.
So you can use the public health care system, but I wouldn't say it's to a standard that you might expect if you're coming from North America.
Yeah. Now getting into that, wow, you're taking me back. I picked up a parasite when I was in the Amazon jungle in Peru.
Oh, no.
So what was his symptoms? What kind of symptoms did he had? Did he?
So he was throwing up.
Okay.
We had done an overnight in the jungle, and he's swimming in the river, and he started throwing up overnight, and he was sick for over 24 hours, and he's just a very a slight kid, like real
Yeah.
skinny. So just after 24 hours of these symptoms, he was like emaciated, and I was like, oh, poor
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
And he just couldn't keep anything down. So I knew I had to take him to the clinic, and as soon as they got the IV in him, you could see his lips, they had been all cracked. They started to plump up, and they gave him medicine to, stop the nausea and diarrhea and stuff. And he was,
Yeah.
a-okay. But
What did they do to take care of the parasite? What kind of medication did they give him to? Do you know?
just the general antibiotic, and they did some blood work that came back inconclusive. So they checked for the typical tropical things like dengue fever and
Yeah.
some other things and it just came back inconclusive.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what happened to me. I had to go to the hospital in the Amazon, and they, they thought it was possibly dengue or and you know, that was inconclusive. And they were like, you're going to be fine, you're fine, you're hydrated now, just you'll be fine. And I never got fine. And when I went back to the States, I was still struggling. So
Really?
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. And I lost a ton of weight. I was never hungry. I just wouldn't eat because I was never hungry. I was always slightly nauseous.
Huh.
And yeah, and I went to a buddy of mine who's an Oriental medicine doctor, and he gave me some natural product that I had to take actually for 2 months, and it worked. It ended up working, and I felt incredibly better. And after that 2 month period, my appetite came back, and I wasn't feeling that low grade nausea any longer.
Wow.
It was really a fascinating experience. Okay. How do you get around? Do you guys have a vehicle? Do you ride bikes? Do you walk? What's the main mode of transportation, and what's the cost on that?
Yeah. Okay. So it was one of my lifestyle changes to not have a motorized vehicle again when we moved down here, and we made it like 3 years before we bit the bullet. So I live in Placencia. It's a 1 square mile village, and there's no parking here anyway. So still, even though I have a car, I don't use it unless I'm leaving. I'm going to the mainland. I'm leaving the peninsula.
Mm.
I would just ride my bike and walk, and it's so easy to get around, and it is a nice lifestyle thing to just pop on your bike and ride down to the vegetable stand every day, or like traffic jam is like when all the kids have to ride their bicycles to school at the same time. So that's really nice, and I think that's true in a lot of villages across the country, is that most people don't have vehicles. But that's changing now with all these expats moving here. Is there, you definitely see a lot more motorized vehicles on the road. But so we just got kind of like a beater car, for less than 5,000 US dollars. In it costs 100 US annually for registration, and 175 US for insurance. But the kicker is the gas prices. Our gas is over 13 Belize a gallon, so 650 US a gallon.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's
so it
yeah,
makes the bike riding pretty.
gas is insane right now.
Yeah.
That's for sure. How about like the bus transportation? Are the buses pretty affordable down there?
Oh, okay. So the buses are really cheap. I mean, probably like 1 to 2 US dollars per ride. And you can kind of hail them wherever you see them, and, get off, give a holler wherever you want to get off. But um, they're a step up from the chicken buses that you would see in Mexico, but they're
Good.
still, it's decommissioned yellow school buses from the US, is
Yeah.
what we have down here. And they paint them all different colors. And those are the different public lines, but they
Yeah.
are really cheap and they'll get you most places.
Yeah. 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 Those buses have made their way all the way through Central America down to the northern part of South America. And they're all painted and they all look really awesome. But yeah, okay. So, and then what do you do in Belize for fun, for entertainment, to entertain yourself? What if you had to break it down, if you think about the stuff that you do each month for leisure, fun, enjoyment, what are they, and is there a cost?
Sure. A lot of people come here and they already have, the hobbies that can be pretty pricey, right? They're avid divers or fishermen, or things like that, and that's what they want to come here and do, whether in retirement or what have you. So those things, I guess, can add up. But if you're just a normal person looking for fun, I would say a lot of the social life here revolves around your local beach bars. Like, take that for what it is, but that's so you go and you have a drink and listen to music, or different nights of the week, there's different things like trivia nights or bingo and darts club, things like that. So a lot of things revolve around happy hour, which is dead cheap here. So during happy hour, a local beer or a nice natural juice and a local rum is 5 Belize. So $2.50 US per. And everyone also carries their own cup. So you bring your first drink to the bar with you because you made it at home. And that's totally, it's not, in other countries, people be like, oh my God, you can't do that. But that's totally normal here, so everyone rocks up to the bar with their first drink already. And then, they hang out and nurse one or two more beers while they play trivia or darts or whatever. And it's a cheap night out and everyone's there and has fun. Of course, there's other things that you can get involved in. Volunteering with the Rotary or Humane Society. A lot of people like to go hiking. There's a local group called the Weekend Wanderers, and they always plan a little trip every weekend, whether it's to go visit a waterfall or go look at a Mayan ruin, something like that. And they all pitch in together to make it affordable.
Cool. That sounds like a lot of fun. Sounds like my kind of place. Do you guys have any any movie theaters or live entertainment where you pay or where people come in and they perform and people pay money to go see these bands play and not anything like that?
No, we don't. So if you're looking, for, like an off-Broadway kind of thing or, a nice museum or things like, you're not going to find it in Belize.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the trade-off.
Yeah. So you're really immersing yourself into the jungle life and beach life and Caribbean life. And that's what you get, but there's a lot there to love.
Yeah, it's a simple life. I don't think it's for everyone, but the people who do enjoy it, they find it really relaxing and it's kind of freeing not to have all those choices, right?
Yeah, I agree. It's like when you find places like where you're living, there's something so simplistic and beautiful about the simplicity about it that it makes life so much more rewarding because you can just take it in, and that's where life can sometimes become overwhelming, I think. It's just like we're so inundated with so many things and so many options and so many ways to move and you're just being pulled in so many different directions. And that's how I think there's such a movement of people, but it's a specific person. I think you're a unique person. I think your family and you are just unique because there's not a lot of people romanticize about going to live overseas, but very, very few people do it when they take that leap. But I think that the people that do understand that there is something so precious about, that experience and how it
And
simplifies things.
I don't know why more people don't try because anyone can do it. I mean, I'm not special, we're not special because we live abroad. It's just, doing. And also, I think, people, they get caught up in their head that they, have to make this decision and it's forever.
Yeah,
I will tell you, most expats don't last here. They
sure.
last, I would say 18 months is the average before they move on or move back. And that's okay. Uh, in the 5 years I've been here, a bunch of friends that I've made have come and gone. But you know what? Not one of them has said that they regret trying. They don't regret their time here at all. Maybe it wasn't for them. They found a place they wanted to try more, or whatever. But they don't regret the experience of
Yeah,
having tried and come.
yeah. So let's talk about because the one of the reasons that people, especially in America, talk about is that they're always concerned about safety, especially in Central America, Mexico. Is safety an issue that in Belize? Is it an issue at all?
Sure, it is. Obviously, we have our high crime areas, just like any country would. Belize City is. Everyone says, "Oh, stay away from Belize City," and there are, but it's mostly, gang related, drug related. So I'm not in a gang. I don't, like I'm not looking to buy drugs or anything like that. So for me, I find it very safe because I'm not part of that world.
Sure. Yeah.
Typical, of course, petty theft, things like that. I don't leave my bike unlocked down at the pier when I go for a swim.
Yeah.
Just things like that. The crimes of opportunity for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
I will. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I agree. It's like the same precautions that you take in Jersey or New York City. Nobody,
Yeah.
nobody ever leaves their bike unlocked, right? And you know where not to go in certain, neighborhoods, in every major city in the U.S.
Yeah. So the same precautions you would use anywhere is the same thing you would do here in Belize, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Great. Let's talk food. Now, what is a typical Belizean food that you would find in a restaurant?
Rice and beans. I can't get away from rice
Yeah.
and beans. Stewed chicken, rice and beans.
Nice.
Yeah, but you know what? Actually, when I go back to the US, for a week or two, I'm visiting, and sometimes I crave it. Like there's nothing better, right? It's a complete meal. The
It
stewed
is.
chicken and beans, the plantain, the little coleslaw on the side.
Fantastic.
If you
Yeah.
get a good rice and beans, there's nothing better. And for 4 or 5 US dollars for a huge heaping plate, what
Yeah.
more could you ask for? But we also do have like a Latin America influence. So you'll see tacos and burritos, pupusas. We also have a lot of traditional Mayan dishes, which would be heavy on like corn foods,
Hmm.
tamales, and things along that line.
Hmm.
There's a Garifuna culture here, which is like an Afro-Caribbean culture, and they do some really nice dishes, seafood stews, and things with cassava and plantain. It's really a good. Oh, and then we also have a lot of curry dishes because there's an East Indian influence
You're
here
making me
as well.
hungry.
Yeah,
God, you're making me hungry.
the food the food is good, and it's cheap, it's fresh, it's flavorful. And the street food I've found to be really safe. I mean, knock on wood, I've never gotten sick from eating street food. And you don't see it; they're not dirty. You never see a fly or anything like in the little taco roadside stands. Yeah, so the food is great.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. All right. Well, that's pretty much everything that I have. Is there anything else that you'd like to add we haven't touched on yet that could be beneficial for the viewers or
No,
anything?
but if they have any other, pressing questions, they can visit my blog, Real Life Recess. And I'm constantly posting about expat life in Belize and adventures around the country, community happenings, and things like that. So if you want to get an insight, more in depth, or even plan your vacation to Belize, that's a good site, realliferecess.com.
Okay, that's awesome. And then tell us a little bit about your guest house. So how would somebody go about booking the guest house if they want to come down and check out Belize?
Oh, sure. I'm of course on all the third party booking sites, booking.com, Airbnb, Travelocity, all those things. But I
Okay.
also have my own website, Driftwood Gardens, guesthouse.com, or you could just search for us on Facebook. And we're here in Placencia, right in the village, really easy.
Okay. Well, we're going to post all that information at the end of this podcast so everybody can contact you to reach out if they want to, find a way to lease your guest house, and definitely check out your blog at Real Life Recess. And Megan Rodden, thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for being here to share all of this information with the viewers. I really appreciate that.
Thanks for having me. That was so
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, and if I eventually one day I'm going to make it down to Belize, and I'm going to look you up, and I want to go
You
check out some
better.
of the,
Okay.
and so we need to take a cup, right? We need to go out first. We got to start out with our own cup. Well, you have a wonderful evening, and thanks again for your time.
Thank you.